From the moment a person could imagine themselves in a better moment than the one they were in, there has been no steady state for human beings. Aside from the world of man, life finds a balance and maintains itself. It's circular, adapting as it can via selection to changes in conditions, such as climate and geological activity. The things that don't change, but rather fluctuate within a constant range, such as the weather and seasons. Living beings are equipped to deal with those. The changes in the weather and seasons are cyclical and not novel to a given species in a given place. However, when novelty arises from a long-term, non-cyclical change, such as a meteor strike or geological or celestial activity or the resulting climate change, living things adapt to it through selection. Some individuals are already equipped with the means of surviving the new situations, and they pass on their genes by virtue of their ability to survive and reproduce. The effectiveness of this characteristic may increase with generations as natural variation in the desired quality makes for winners and losers until there's minimum differentiation between individuals. The more uniform the characteristic between individuals, the more critical it is for survival. So the fundamental things like having bones, a heart, brain, veins, and lungs, there's little variation in those because they are essentials, requiring close tolerances. But superficial things that don't affect survival can vary more. This is why the removal of selective pressures causes a proliferation of variable characteristics, as the easy conditions for living render more characteristics superficial, not needing to be a certain way to live. So there exists large flightless parrots on islands where there's no land predators. The proliferation of superficial characteristics in the absence of selective pressure can be found in domestic species as well. Human beings build safety around them and select them artificially. The human being's ability to adapt to novelty via technology without the need for selection allows us to accumulate mutations, some of which we mitigate through technology, if disabling, and others for which we select sexually, if appealing. But mutations will only accumulate to the degree that we can mitigate their disadvantage. So, for example, there are some conditions that are not survivable, and so those genes don't proliferate. We may never have the technology or inclination to mitigate certain conditions unless preemptively through gene editing. Just as medical technology allows for the survival of more genetic variation, changes in human culture can do the same. History rhymes because in the aggregate, people don't change. They want to maximize safety and pleasure given the limitations imposed by scarcity and the laws and norms of their society. Be that as it may, temperament and intelligence are heritable, and so if a society allocates resources independent of these qualities, they will not be selected for. Kind of like how an absence of sexual selection makes for less attractive people. An absence of moral selection makes for a degenerate, impulsive, and stupid people. A working sociological definition of culture is those rules and patterns of behavior among a group that are most conducive to survival in a given environment. Technology changes culture by altering its reward structure. The acceleration of technology decreases the amount of time it takes to create a generation gap. Technology to increase efficiency and productivity make for easy living. Ease of living, abundance, makes less critical to survival the behavior of individuals. Total abundance makes pointless the delay of gratification, and so its prevalence diminishes in a circumstance where those devoid of it can still feed their offspring. It seems like technology could create a macrocosmic version of the Universe 25 experiment, where mice that were given unlimited resources ultimately self-destructed. The thing that makes a person long for utopian society is the same thing that would preclude them from staying sane in one. It is the activist who wants the utopian society, whatever their stripe. Activists who are adversarial to each other just have different ideas about what is the perfect world. They are both on the operating system of body identification. They both see the world through a lens of conditioning to which they want to bend it. This is the predominant state. Body identification is automatic and is the foundation of the personality that navigates the world. The I thought arises from the spiritual heart to facilitate subject-object relation in a world of apparent duality. So long as there is belief in being the body, the conceptual person arising from the I thought will be regarded as the self, though it be only impressions in consciousness born of experiences, the determinants of which are too numerous to validate any one but God's claim of doership. In realizing that one is what sees and nothing that is seen, be it subtle or gross, it is revealed what one isn't. And in this is the death of the identification with thought, form, and energy through I am not this, neti, neti, neti. Action is preceded by thought, and those we would call evil actions are no exception. A person who strongly desires the world to be a certain way is subject to perpetual obsessive thinking. When people do outrageous things, you can rest assured they have thought about it, or something like it, for a long time. The smallness of a thing over which people will murder should inform your perception of people's willingness to kill for their worldview. If people will kill you over something as silly as stepping on their shoes, calling them bad names, or because they want a few dollars from you, they will certainly kill you to support their worldview if they think they can get away with it. It's just a question of how brainwashed and thus radicalized they are. So long as the I has purchase on the energy body through ignorance, through delusion, that identity can be augmented through exposure to content. It's like that B-side from your favorite band whose new album you hated, but eventually it got to be one of your favorite songs. But when content is no longer identified with in general, it's easy to see how personalities and opinions are implanted from exogenous sources. So all this is to say, seek the truth of this moment and guard the senses. The product of all outward pursuits does not compare to what appears in the absence of the thought and need to make this moment something other than what it is.